We're learning the Sikha on Shoftim and Chelik Lamed Daled, the third Sikha, which, as I mentioned, is also printed in the Dvar Malchus that the Rebbe gave out. So what's the Rebbe discussing in the Sikha? We learned last week that the Rambam, when he brings sources for Moshiach and Torah, the Rambam brings three different sources. From Parshas Nitzavim, where it says, V'shav Hashem lekecha shvuscha. From Parshas Bilam, where it says, Aren v'lo yatash, Ren v'lo yikarev, and so on. And then, in a separate halacha, the Rambam brings the source from Im Yachav Hashem lekecha as Gevolcha, that it says regarding the mitzvah of designating an Ir Miklat. So the question of the Rebbe is, why is it necessary for the Rambam to bring this additional raya from the Ir Miklat? So now the Rebbe comes right back on that question and asks, if you're asking, why do you need the raya from Ir Miklat? So you could ask on the previous two rayas, why do you need both the raya of Parshas Nitzavim and the raya from Parshas Bilam? So what we learned last week was, the Rebbe explained that there's something that you see in Parshas Bilam or Balak that you don't have in Parshas Nitzavim, and what is that? That it's not only that we have a promise for the Geula, but it's also that it's going to come through a Melech, through Melech HaMashiach. There is an opinion in the Gemara, we learned last week in Orah 5, that says, Ein Mashiach L'Yisrael. The Eibishter himself read, Ein Mashiach L'Yisrael. No, Yidden don't believe in Mashiach. Why? The Eibishter himself redeems Yidden. But we don't paskin like that opinion, which was the opinion of Hillel. We paskin like what it says in Parshas Balak, that it is going to be Mashiach, and Aren v'lo yata goes on Mashiach, Dorach Koichav Miyakov goes on Mashiach, and so on. So we understand why the Rambam is bringing Parshas Balak. The Rambam's lashon is Kol Misha Ein Maimim Boy. Boy. You have to believe not only in the Geula, but you have to believe in the coming of Mashiach. Okay, so let's continue inside where we're holding, and this is on the last paragraph on the first page of the Sikha, page 114. Here, the Rebbe is going to explain why isn't it enough to bring the raya from Parshas Bilam. The Rambam doesn't bring just the raya from Parshas Bilam. Seemingly, that covers everything. Tells you about Mashiach, tells you about Geula. Not only does he not bring only this raya, but it's brought only as a secondary proof. The Rambam is not only coming to prove the fact that in Torah there's a prophecy for Mashiach. Rather, as the Rambam himself begins, what is he coming to prove? That he goes into the category of being a kaifer. He's denying Torah and Moshe Rabbeinu Shaharei ha-Torah ha'ida olav. The Torah testifies, tells us testimony about the Gola. That's what the Rambam is coming to say. Now, to prove this point, that you become a kaifer because the Torah says testimony about Mashiach, that you have only in Parshas Nitzavim, as the Rebbe explains here. Why is that? Now, this clear testimony in the Torah about Mashiach, it's not enough to bring you psukim and chumash that if you look into Chazal, you know that the kavanah of the pasuk is speaking about Geula, speaking about Mashiach. Because then you can't say he's mamash a kaifer and Torah shebiksav. We actually had this discussion here. I don't know if it was during the shir or after the shir. Someone asked the question: how could he say that the kaifer and Torah shebiksav in the pasuk in Parshas Bilam, Aren v'lo yata, Ren v'lo yikarev, doesn't say clear that it's about Mashiach. Chazal typed it was about Mashiach. So if you don't believe in that, you're a kaifer in the pirish of Chazal in the pasuk. So the Rebbe adds, "Shegam ha-kaifer b'pirusha v'hu Torah shebal peh." He's also considered to be a kaifer b'Torah, but it's still not something which is mufurish in the Torah. Rather, the Rambam wants to show you hadvarim, that is hamufurashim b'Torah, that the subject of Mashiach, it says explicitly in the Torah. You don't have to just rely on a pirish of Chazal and the Psukei HaTorah. V'ilo nevuas Bilam Nemru b'derech mashal v'chida. The entire nevuah of Bilam is all said as a mashal with analogies and so on. You can't say that it's explicit in the Torah. Mashenkim bepasuk arisha in shemufurish boy al dvar geula kibbutz galis v'chulu. But the first pasuk that Rambam brings in Parshas Nitzavim is clear. There it says v'shav Hashem lekecha shvuscha, and that is a clear pasuk about the Eibishter gathering Yidden when it comes the time the Gula. Okay, so that's what the Rambam brings, the pasuk of Parshas Nitzavim. Yeah, so it's interesting. The Rebbe it does clarify there that the Rambam in Hilchas Shuvah does say that if someone is kaifer in the pshat of Chazal in a pasuk, you are called a kaifer b'teireh. Still called a kaifer, but nevertheless, the Rambam uses a stronger lashon. Hateireh he'idah. What does he'idah sound like? He'idah sounds like testimony when something is said explicit. When Eidim walk into a bezdin and say a testimony, so what do? They say in riddles, and then you have to decipher their words. Eidim speak directly and clearly to what happened. This lashon of hateireh he'idah, the Rambam wants to bring you a source which is explicit in the Torah. And therefore, it brings Parshas Nitzavim. On the other hand, he brings also Parshas Bilam, because there it says clearly about Moshiach, or according to Chazal, it's speaking about Moshiach. Okay, but now the Rebbe comes back to the question, Avol, Tzarech Bior, however...
Reveals that there's no opposing Chazal, and what Bilam said, there's only one set of Chazal, so therefore that's why we accept it.
Yeah, okay, that's also true. Avol Tzarech Bior, Kanal... However, the question still remains: Ma Neisaf al Yidei Araya Ma Kasav Bari Miklat. Why is the Rambam bringing an additional third raya from the psukim regarding Ari Miklat? Gam Yesh L'Dayek. Then there's another very interesting thing about this. Sharambam Kasav Raya Zu Ba'alacha B'fnei Atzma. Not only does he bring an additional raya, but the Rambam puts it into a new and separate halacha. Why does it deserve to be placed into a new halacha? It should have been placed together with the other rayas in a previous halacha. So it sounds like it's not only an additional raya, but it's a whole new halacha. It's a whole new concept. How is this a whole new concept about Mashiach? Okay, so before we see the Rebbe's pshat, we have to see what the Rebbe says in the Haaretz here. Hara 11, the Rebbe is mechazik the question. So here the Rebbe says, in the Pirush HaMishnayis, where the Rambam also brings sources. This is Pirush HaMishnayis that was quoted earlier in the Sikha here, in the Haaretz. This is the Pirush HaMishnayis in Haaretz 6, which is the Hagdameh to the Perek Chelek, which is the Perek in Sanhedrin, that speaks about Mashiach. So there, Lahevi Rayazu. The Rambam there brings Rayas from Psukim for Mashiach. The Raya of Ari Miklat, he doesn't bring. So it only strengthens the question in the Sikha. Why in Sefer Hayad did he find it necessary to bring it? Well, l'chayre ain't kavanas Rambam, the Sefer Hayad, Sefer Halacha, lahavi kol l'mekayim shebetayre shebeksav shemefurish b'em al dvar hagola. If this is a Sefer Halacha, even more so, it's not necessary for the Rambam here to start listing every single pasuk. If in Pirush HaMishnayis he doesn't, for sure in a Sefer Halacha, there's no reason to list every single raya. Well, b'frat shulachayre yashnam oid. The Rambam says there is additional rayas from Sukkim in the Torah that the Rambam doesn't even bring. Re'ei Sefer HaGeula laHaramban Shar Aleph. The Ramban has a Sefer HaGeula, and there he writes, V'yoyser chazak mizeh b'seif HaTorah Parshas Azinu. In the end of Parshas Azinu, it also speaks about the Gula Sida. And besides that, there is Mitzayin, another place in Torah, Ure'ei Vayechi Mem Tes Yud Berashi V'Ramban Sham, in the Brachas of Yaakov. It's also referring to things of loss of love. When it says over there, At Kiyove Shiloi, Shiloi goes on Mashiach. So I think that's the pasuk that I was referring to over there. So the Rambam doesn't list all the psukim in the Torah. He's bringing specific psukim that are negeya lahalacha to the gather of Mashiach. So what's the pshat here? Okay, so now at 12, the Rebbe suggests an answer. Before we come to the final answer that the Rebbe is going to give in the Pnim of the Sikha, let's see the answer that the Rebbe suggests in order 12. But look at the Sikhis Sham. So then there's another Sikha where the Rebbe talks about this Inyan, which is in Chelik Yid Ches, as it's brought before in Hara 7. So there, the Rebbe explains Barichis all the details of the Rambam bringing these psukim. So there it's explained, Shekavanas Rambam Berayezu. The Rebbe there asks the same question. And there the Rebbe answers, you know why the Rambam brings the psukim of Parashas Shoftim regarding Ir Miklat? Hiloichiach oid yoser. It's to prove the point, Shegidroi shel Mashiach, hu sha'oz yeh kiyum atayro mitzvahs b'shleimusan. This is Bechla, what that Sikha talks about there. The Rebbe says this Nakuda about Mashiach, which is a very fundamental point about Mashiach. It's connected to the Sikha that we learned before this one. The Rebbe there says all the descriptions in the Nevuahs that it says about Mashiach, the Rambam comes and says it's all a mashal. What's going to happen when Mashiach comes? Shleimus haTeireh v'mitzvahs. Why? That's the gather of Mashiach. The gather of Mashiach is to give Yidden the ability to be Mekayim Teireh mitzvahs b'shleimus. That's it. Everything else is additional. Could be Nisim if we'll be Zeichen. Could be no Nisim if we won't be Zeichen. Could be a later Tkufa there'll be Nisim. But the Bias of Mashiach consists of giving you the opportunity to fulfill Torah and mitzvahs. That's what it's all about. Finished. Huh? If you have an ability to be Mekayim Torah and mitzvahs b'shleimus, there has to be more Gilui Elikus for that. True. No question about it. But it's not an Indian of Shinui Min Hogish Leil. In a way, the whole kavana is that whatever additional Gilui Elikus comes through the Torah and mitzvahs should be within Teva. Not to break the Teva, Dafke in Teva. Okay, but that's already another point. But the Ikon Kuda is the Rambam is Magder defines Mashiach as Shleimus HaTorah Mitzvahs. That's it. So therefore, he brings also Dafke this raya of V'im Yarchav Hashem Lekechas Gevulcha. Here you have a mitzvah that was never fulfilled in the way the pasuk says it here. And now when Mashiach comes, this mitzvah will be fulfilled b'shleimus, the additional 3 Yari Miklot. Shaharei mitzvazu tiye b'shleimus rakas. This brings out that the whole Indian of Mashiach is the shleimus HaTorah v'mitzvahs even more than all the other mitzvahs. All the other mitzvahs, karbanes, trumis, maisris, which we once fulfilled before. Then it's chorban abayis and it's nisbatel, so then we'll be mekayim it again. So you can't really say that Mashiach is the one that's exclusively introducing the ability to fulfill this mitzvah. It happened before. Mashiach is returning it. But here you see 2 things. First of all, you see that when the Torah wants to talk about Mashiach, in what context does it talk about Mashiach? In relation to a mitzvah. What's the oiftu of Mashiach? That he's going to give you an opportunity to do another mitzvah. And this is a mitzvah that only Mashiach gives you the opportunity to do. Never before. So this makes the point very strongly that this is what the Teichen of Mashiach is all about. Again? Probably not. Ben Seir and Meira. No.
But it never was. It said never was, never will be.
Yeah, the Lashon that Rebbe brought. That's one opinion, but it looks like we go with that. Lo hoya v'lo yositlius. That was the Rebbe brought before. That's Ben Seir and Meira. Okay, this is one pshat that it says in L'kutei Sichos Chelik Yud Ches. The Rebbe addresses this subject yet in another place. L'kutei Sichos Chelik Chav Dalet, page 109 ve'elech. This buyer there it says.
This is the
The what?
Carbonis and everything.
Yeah, if we include
things that we can't do now.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. And so in Chelik Chav Dalet, there the Rebbe says, "Sheraya zui gam akdome l'divrei Rambam b'halacha shel achris." You could say the Rambam brings this raya also as an introduction for the next halacha. Shemelech HaMashiach ein tzarich lasas eises amayvsim imachadish dvarim ba'olam. That Mashiach, in order to be a person that qualifies to be Melech HaMashiach, he does not have to perform any miracles or bring any innovations into the nature of the world. Shezeu behesem l'divrei Rambam lahalon sham b'reish perik yud beis should be Meis HaMashiach oilam kimenhag enayik. This fits with what the Rambam says later b'chlal regarding Meis HaMashiach, that nature will not change when Mashiach comes. That's the famous opinion of the Rambam. Now, shaharaya lezeh mitoyre shebiksav he me'orei miklot lasad lavai. The biggest proof of this is which mitzvah does the Torah choose to tell you that Mashiach will add to the mitzvah of Orei Miklot, which means Shagam Oz Efshiri V'yeh Hoirig Nefesh B'Shgaga. Even after Mashiach comes, there's a possibility and that someone will kill accidentally, and then you'll need more Orei Miklot. Pella, after Mashiach comes, there'll be such a thing of killing someone B'Shgaga. But yeah, that's what the pasuk is saying. So if so, that means that people will still be prone to such kind of shegig of killing someone. You need a ir miklat. Okay, so this is yet another pshat. Why the Rambam brings dafka this raya of the ori miklat, because this is a source for the concept of olam kimanaginoyik. Okay, but the Rebbe adds here aval the a hemshe chasiche sham. There's the continuation of the sikha there where the Rebbe refutes this pshat. The Rebbe says a different point over there. The Rebbe says that there's not necessarily is it shaykh to say that there's any killing b'shgaga loss of lova. No such a thing. Everything's good?
So why will there be a mikvah?
Oh, so there's an arichas in that sikha. Maybe when we'll finish this sikha, we'll go over to that one. Over there, the Rebbe discusses if it happens before. We'll see. Maybe after we finish the sikha. I don't know if I ever taught that sikha. To go back to that sikha. Okay, so we have two suggestions here how to learn the pshat in the Rambam. But the Rebbe concludes and says, "Aval pashtos loshen Rambam hi." However, the simple pshat of the Rambam is shekavanosai lahavi raya mitayr shebiksav al etzem bias Mashiach. Simple pshat of the Rambam is he's not bringing this raya here for these side points or certain details about Mashiach, what Mashiach is going to do, what Mashiach accomplishing, so on. But he's bringing you a raya that for the very coming of Mashiach, and that if you don't believe in it, and therefore you're a kafir. Kahemshich l'shaynai, as Rambam himself says afterwards, umei olam lehoya dovazeh. When the Torah says to add Ari Miklat, this never actually happened. Eibush doesn't give a mitzvah for no reason. You don't need proof for the coming of Mashiach. It's full in Nach, you find full about Mashiach. So when the Rambam uses this expression, for what? For the very coming of Mashiach. For the very union of Geula, not for this detail or another detail. So we see that the Rambam is still busy trying to prove the union of Mashiach himself. So therefore the question remains, why do we need this additional proof about the union of Mashiach himself? Okay, so let's see the beginning of the Rebbe's answer. Sif base. So what it appears to say here is as follows. The Rambam brings this proof of Ari Miklat, yesh chidush ikri legabe beis rayas reshenis. There's something novel in here, something very ikr, not stam a detail, but a very ikr chidush here in this raya. Zeh shetzif satayr im yarchiv kaimer v'yasafta kaimer. That if you have more territory, you have to add more Ari Miklat. Should be meisa Mashiach l'chayavim la'isa b'Ari Miklat. V'lashna Rambam b'mei HaMelech HaMashiach misifin sholosh acheres al elo hashesh. Rambam says this earlier already. Nuchas Ritzeach. If you have to add another 3 Ari Miklat to the 6 that he had already before, what happens now is Nase ha'inyin the bias HaMashiach echad mitnoi mitzvah shebetayre. The whole coming of Mashiach becomes a condition in order to fulfill a mitzvah in the Torah. It's not possible to fulfill this mitzvah of the Torah without the coming of Mashiach. So the whole union of Mashiach, it's not only that when Mashiach comes, then we'll have an opportunity to be Mekayim, the Torah mitzvahs b'shleimus. The other way around. The Torah is not telling you about the coming of Mashiach. When the Torah wants to talk about Mashiach in this pasuk, it doesn't tell you about the coming of Mashiach. It tells you about fulfilling a mitzvah. And it tells you v'im yarchiv. Comes out that Mashiach is a prat in the mitzvah. Not the mitzvah is a prat in Mashiach, that when Mashiach comes, then you can fulfill all the mitzvahs. Punkt fakart. Mashiach is a detail to enable a mitzvah. So, like, what's for what? There's a huge chiddush that comes out of it, a chiddush ikri, that the whole union of Mashiach is to enable a mitzvah. Kalaima, what this means is, afal pishin in agula sid in mefurish b'tayr. Coming of Mashiach rarely says in the Torah, Rambam b'pirish ha-mishnayis, mona ho'amuna b'zeh ben ikri v'yisei the Not only is it mefurish b'tayr, but the Rambam, when he brings the Yud Gimel Ikri Amunah, the 13 Animamins, so Mashiach is the 12th of the 13 Animamins. It's one of the Ikri Amunah. The Kalmakim, nevertheless, and he's a chelik min mitzvah satayra. You can't say l'chayra that the coming of Mashiach is connected to a mitzvah. It's a Ikri and Amunah for whatever reason. It's considered to be a fundamental. It's not a prophecy of something that will happen, but it's a fundamental point. But l'chayra, it's not part of a mitzvah. You don't find anywhere in the Torah a mitzvah to believe in Mashiach. The person doesn't believe in Mashiach, he's a kafir. Because why? Because the Torah prophesied about it. If you don't believe in any pasuk in Chumash or in any prophecy in the Torah, you're a kafir. But it's not, there's no tzivui though, there's no mitzvah in the Torah to believe in Mashiach. V'rak, if it says it explicitly in the Torah, if you don't believe in it, so you're a kafir. Not yet. When the Torah gives you this mitzvah, and it says that this mitzvah is when Mashiach comes, Nasa inyan agula echad miprate mitzvah b'Torah. So over here, although the Torah Taka doesn't ever tell you a mitzvah to believe in Mashiach, but it does become a prat and a mitzvah. The coming of Mashiach is to enable a mitzvah. Okay, so the Rebbe just clarifies here in Order 16. Let's see what it says. In the Pnim of the Sikha, it said that the coming of Mashiach, there's no tzivui in the Torah to believe that Mashiach is coming. So the Rebbe says, "Shezeu echad ma'ataimim sheleivia Rambam b'Sefer Hayad b'Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah." This is one of the reasons why Mashiach is not even brought up in the beginning of the Rambam Yisodei HaTorah. If the Rambam, what's the Rebbe's question? If the Rambam himself in Pirush HaMishnah says that from the Yud Gimel Ikrei Emunah is Mashiach, I think that most of the Yud Gimel Ikrim, if to go through them, what they are, but I believe most of the Yud Gimel Ikrim are discussed in Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah. Emunah B'Hashem, Nevuah, Schar V'Einish, and things like that. They're all there, and you say Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah. Yisodei HaTorah means the fundamentals of Torah. So if Bias Mashiach is also part of the Ikrei Emunah, so why isn't it brought in Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah? So the answer is, and here the Rebbe is quoting a lashon that Abarbanel writes in the Sefer Reish Hamana, where he discusses and sometimes argues with the Rambam in Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah, Ki b'Sefer Mishnah Torah kavanasei levayir hamitzvus asher b'Sefer Torah selikim. The whole Sefer is written to explain mitzvahs, which is mefurish in the Torah, and therefore Hevi Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah levayir oisam hayisodos sheyesh b'chlala mitzvahs. He's only explaining fundamentals of things that have mitzvahs in it, but not loy kol Yisodei HaTorah. But he doesn't necessarily bring all Yisodei HaTorah. Any Yisod in Torah that is not part of a mitzvah or there's no tzivui on it, he doesn't bring that in Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah, even if it is a fundamental thing. Okay. There is another order from the Rebbe in a Sikha somewhere, where the Rebbe explains why believing in Bias and Mashiach is not counted in Taryag mitzvahs. In this Sikha of Chelik Ches, the Rebbe has been saying to before over there, the Rebbe talks about it. I think over there, the Rebbe actually says, it's mashman what the Rebbe says there, that be'emes, believing in Mashiach, is a tzivui in the Torah, but it's not counted as one of the Taryag mitzvahs, because there's a klal that the Rambam says that any mitzvah klolis, which is koil kol Torah kula, is not counted as one of the Taryag mitzvahs. So yes, the whole concept of Bias Mashiach is that Mashiach is going to bring back shleimus of kiyum of all Taryag mitzvahs. So what's the inyan of Mashiach? Believing in Mashiach basically, in other words, means you believe that when the Eibishter gave the 613 mitzvahs, it's for real. He gave it to actually do it. Why do we have to believe in the coming of Mashiach? Why is Taka such a fundamental thing? Why is Taka from the Ikrim? If it's not a tzivui, so why is it an Ikrim? So Chassidus says it has, because that's the Nesava Kadosh Baruch Hu, that's the shleimus of creation. But what's the Hasbal Pinigla? The Hasbal Pinigla and the Hasbal Chassidus fits together. But the Pashal Pinigla, the Pshat is, because otherwise, the Eibusha gave us 613 mitzvahs, and the Zman Hazeh, we could only fulfill a small number out of it. I forgot the exact number, 80 something mitzvahs. So, what's the number? Huh? There's various different versions about this. There's a mime of the Alter Rebbe, I think he says 80 something, and another mime it says another number. It's a minority of the mitzvahs that you can fulfill b'zman hazeh. So if you don't believe that there's going to be a time period when you can fulfill all mitzvahs, so that basically means the Eibush is giving mitzvahs, and he creates a world where you can't fulfill them. There was one time period that you can fulfill them, but later on you can't. So the mitzvahs are not nitzchias b'chlal. It was made for a certain tekufa and v'zeh. So you basically are saying that the mitzvahs of the Torah are not really nitzchi, they're not true. Believing in Mashiach, in other words, means that you believe in mitzvahs HaTorah, that the Eibishter gave mitzvahs HaTorah to actually be fulfilled. So therefore, the Rebbe says, the Rebbe, even if you're going to say that believing in Mashiach is a mitzvah, it can't be counted as one of the Taryag mitzvahs, because it's a mitzvah close. That's what the Rebbe says. Okay, which is an interesting thing. So it's sort of mashma that the Rebbe is saying that believing in Mashiach is one of the mitzvahs. Where is that mitzvah? Where is it saying the Torah, the mitzvah to believe in Mashiach? So according to some Rishonim in the pasuk in Parshas Nitzavim, the psukim that the Rambam brings from Parshas Nitzavim, there is a mashmos over there that there's a mitzvah to believe in Mashiach. It's a discussion for itself. Over here, though, the Rebbe is saying that there's no tzivui. Here the Rebbe says beferish that believing in Mashiach is not a tzivui. Kapana, what do we have so far? We'll finish just with this point that the Rebbe is saying that the Rambam is bringing the raya from Ori Niklot because now Mashiach becomes a prat of a mitzvah. Now, what's the big chiddush of that, and why is that so important? We'll see Mitzvah Hashem next
It's not a
week.
mitzvah, what's the kefir?
The what? The what?
If it's not a mitzvah, then we according to them, what's the kefir?
The kfira is because it's mefurish b'Torah. Whether it's a mitzvah or not, if you don't believe in a pasuk in Torah, there's hanging of kfira. That's a different
okay.
inyan.
It's
That's
a hanging
yeah.
of what it states in 30 verses,
Right.
what you got to do, what not
Right.
to do.
So it's part of the mitzvah.